Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, look, between the most recent episode and Chapter 314, I really gotta say, My Hero Academia is doing amazing in my opinion. And this chapter confirms my suspicions from the video that I made late last year about the fall of Heroic Society and tons more. So you know the deal. If you haven't read Chapter 314, be sure to read it and then head on back because this video is gonna contain spoilers. And if you enjoy the content here at the bar, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want a chance to live chat with me during the video's premiere, hit that notification bell and become one of my regulars. Though now, I think it's time to head inside and grab ourselves a drink. Welcome to the bar, folks. Alright, so the chapter continues the fight from chapter 313, and this time All Might's fight is a little bit postponed for the time being as the story primarily focuses on the fight between Deku and Lady Nagant. Now, for this chapter analysis, we're gonna focus on the fact that I think Lady Nagant's story is very reminiscent of a certain vigilante that we have met in the past. So we're not gonna spend too much time over here at the bar today, so let me finish pouring this drink and then let's head over to the wall and tackle chapter 314 and see what we can piece together. Alright, so look, the first thing that I want to point out about Chapter 314 is that it shows us that putting Lady Nagant in an armbar pretty much does nothing. And Deku kind of learns the hard way as she's able to take her arm and turn it into a cannon of which she's able to launch him away. But that's when the first bombshell of the chapter is dropped, because it turns out that Lady Nagant was a pawn of the Safety Commission. Now, look, as for the fight itself, it's drawn to depict tons of movement compiled with a huge amount of exposition, so it looks like a lot is going on the page. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad, but this particular chapter, you have to reread more than once because you will definitely get caught up in a lot of the action. But each character has a destination that their conversation wants to be at. Deku wants to get a handle on Lady Nagant's quirk, and Nagant wants to try to get inside of Deku's head to slow him down enough so he won't escape by the skin of his teeth from her shots. And if you felt that a flashback was on the way, you're absolutely correct, because Lady Nagant's backstory lets us know that she was overwhelmed by the Hero Commission because of so much killing. Like, we knew the Commission was dirty, but this is the moment a character finally verbalizes it, and we get to witness a new type of villain. The one that's been abused by the system that created them. See, it turns out that Lady Nagant was pretty much an assassin for the Commission. She wasn't just out here killing high-profile criminals. She killed people that were prospective criminals, meaning people who haven't even acted yet that the Commission deemed as a threat. She was more or less working on Black Ops missions that weren't fitting of somebody that had the title of hero. If anything, she was a vigilante. She dealt out death blows to people who were working against the best interest of the Commission. And this particular scene right here is very reminiscent of how maybe the Commission took advantage of someone that we know from My Hero Academia vigilantes, Knuckle Duster, also known as the high-speed hero, O'Clock. Because her monologue right here is very similar to O'Clock's monologue in the note that he left for Koichi in My Hero Academia Vigilantes last year. And look, if some of you are watching this and you haven't read My Hero Academia Vigilantes yet, you really should. Because more and more as these chapters go on, they keep on talking about vigilantes. So it's only a matter of time before those characters show up in the story and set some kind of precedent. And the way that Lady Nagant refers to herself as a cog in the machine is the same exact way that O'Clock referred to himself as. We've seen that O'Clock was willing to go to some pretty serious extents to gain the upper hand on a villain that he was investigating, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Commission sent him after All for One thinking that he could handle it, but instead what happened was his defeat at the hands of the Symbol of Evil. And the Commission has shown us that they absolutely do not give a shit whatsoever, because when O'Clock lost his quirk, they disappeared. So as long as Lady Nagant was dropping bodies for their sake, they didn't give a shit what she was up to. And after losing his quirk, the Commission turned its back on O'Clock, and afterwards he became a raging alcoholic. Lady Nagant, on the other hand, well, put it this way, the body count that she was accumulating really took its toll on her mental state, and she kind of became a little bit mentally disturbed. And the thing that kind of triggered her psychotic break was one day she was walking down the street and a bunch of kids saw her and was like, "Oh my god, look, it's Lady Nagant," and she was like, "Oh, hey kids," and as she goes to reach out to them, she sees herself covered in blood. See, to those children, she was Lady Nagant, a top hero deserving recognition for her deeds to society. But that's just how the Commission wanted to frame it. And the thing is, the Commission is dirty. Heroes are just tools for them for a means to an end. So when she goes to extend her hand to a child, all she does is trigger a psychotic episode, and later that night she goes home and stares right into the abyss and then further loses her mind. And before she snaps, she does the right thing. She goes to confront the commission by saying, is really murder the thing that we need to be doing out here? Enter the ex-president of the Safety Commission, who clearly has no problem with finding children that are in hero schools, bringing them in, and turning them into super assassins. Cause you see, this is the same shit that they did to Hawks. They chewed him up and spit him out after his mother sold him away. There was no inquiry into the actions of the Hero Commission once he murdered twice. It was swept under the rug with two statements. One, he was a villain, and two, he was a killer that in turn the Commission saw fit to take out. And that's pretty much the explanation the president of the Hero Commission gives Lady Nagant to tell her to go back to work. And he even goes as far as to insinuate that if Lady Nagant doesn't try to do this and just backs out, she'll be the one on the platter next. And that's when Lady Nagant snaps and turns her gun on the president of the Commission. She didn't kill a hero, she killed the fucking president of the commission. And you know why it was framed as a hero killing? Because the commission masked that up as well. If the regular people found out that the Hero Commission created a hero that eventually had a psychotic episode and murdered the president of the commission's credibility would be shattered. So why not just sweep it under the rug and pretend like it never even happened? So the commission locked Nagant away, and she became the dirty little secret of how foul the commission actually is. And afterwards, the chapter moves back to the fight, and we have Nagant and Deku pretty much matched up evenly right here, with Deku getting ready to have the upper hand due to Black Whip. But that's when she does the one thing that separates a hero from a villain. A hero will always work to rescue somebody, even if it's the guy that was your main nemesis like 4 months ago in canon. And by Nagant pulling a gun on Overhaul, she knows that Deku will be a hero before being an antagonist, meaning the first shot is for Deku to save Overhaul, and the following or subsequent shots will be the ones that Nagant hopefully brings down Deku with. And my favorite part of this chapter is the fact that Nagant and Deku have bantered back and forth, with Lady Nagant just trying to prove to the young boy that all that he's doing is perpetuating a system that once it gets fixed, it'll go back to doing exactly what it was doing before. While on the flip side of things, you got Deku out here trying to be like, look, I understand this madness. There is black and white to this world, but there is a moral gray area that exists as well. And he'll try to exist in that moral gray area by extending a helping hand to anyone who needs it. And right now, we're going to test that moral gray area because the person that he's getting ready to go save is somebody that was a huge antagonist a couple of months ago. Because the way I see it, Deku is the type of hero that Lady Nagant was when she first started out. I mean, look at her face right here. Look at the joy that she's got. When she's approached by the Hero Commission, the whole world is opened up to her. It's just, this is the face of somebody who thinks that they were going to change the world. Now, this is the face of somebody who's been lied to their entire life. What she's done has gnawed at her to the point where she had to do something that she thought was right. Granted, it resulted in her incarceration, but for the most part, all it did was take the woman that's standing behind the commissioner and made her into the new commissioner. And we've seen with Hawks that she more or less just kept up the same old bullshit. After the murder of the president of the Safety Commission, she didn't stop. She just continued to have people like Hawks go and do their bidding. Hawks himself was under the commission's thumb as much as Lady Nagant was, but now that they've been destroyed, he said that he's finally free from their influence and he can do the hero work that he wants to do. But this one panel right here just had me absolutely shook, because for some reason her words just felt like they were straight out of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Like when O'Clock is explaining that he was just another cog in the machine, he's holding a sniper rifle too. So if this is just Caleb Cook's really good interpretation of the Japanese language and figuring out how to drop a parallel between the two, this is really good translation. Because honestly, the more talk of Vigilantes makes me think that it's an inevitability now that the Vigilantes will eventually show up in My Hero Academia. Like, this is the perfect opportunity for them to show up in the story, and granted, I know Vigilante still has to end before the crossover actually happens, and right now in this story, the climax is not quite there yet, but it is on the way. So right now is a pretty opportune time to start reading Vigilantes, because the next chapter does come out next week. And for all we know, the story might have only like 5 or 6 chapters left if it ends in August on the 5th anniversary of the series. But Either way, Chapter 314 finally gave us some insight into the world of My Hero Academia. And like I said earlier, we knew that the commission was dirty, but now we have a hero turned villain that's standing right in front of us that was just this victim of the system. And my guess is, in order for her to betray All for One's cause, all that she has to do is kind of be swayed by somebody who can help bring the right ideals back into her head, because she's still a hero at the heart of things. And if I had to say anything, this chapter was really trying to focus on something called the moral gray area. And right now, more or less, Deku is acting in that moral gray area, being that he's not an actual hero. Right now, he's a vigilante, which could possibly mean that if he ends up working in that moral gray area, we might see Deku teaming up with some villains. I mean, imagine if the team up becomes Lady Nagant, Stain, and Overhaul. That would be absolutely ridiculous, because each one of those villains represents a part of heroic society that failed them to a degree. So it would be definitely interesting to see where the story goes from here on out. So look, I'll leave you with this. If you think Lady Nagant might end up teaming up with Deku in the future, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you think that she's just gonna lose straight up, be sure to let me know in the comments down below as well. But look, you guys all know me by now. I'm pushing for the vigilantes to finally show up now that there's been such an intense comparison between O'Clock and Lady Nagant in this chapter. So we'll just have to see what comes from here. And one last thing, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button. But until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Cheers.